In this video, we'll be doing a very important topic called CSS selectors. Now, if you have a university course on web development, then you may even have this topic in your theory exam. You may have a question about CSS selectors in your theory exam. Now, there are many CSS selectors, but let's study some of the important ones. Now, I hope you remember what is the selector in a CSS rule. So, a CSS rule looks something like this. It looks something like this, okay. So, over here, the red color which you see, P, is the CSS selector. The red color, H1, H2, H3 are CSS selectors. So, basically, selectors are those elements to whom the styling is applied. Now, over here we have a table in which we have specified all the important CSS selectors like universal selector, type selector, class selector, and so on. Okay. Now, to understand all this, we have some programs. So, there are two programs over here. One is, where is it? Yeah, one is selector CSS HTML. So this is the normal HTML file, and along with this HTML file I have provided a link to a CSS file. So this HTML file is linked to selectors.css. So it is this one, and this file is obviously inside this CSS folder. Now what I want is, I want you to pause the video and go through this file. So this is the beginning and this is the end of the file. So come on, pause the video and go through this file. Okay, now let me just mention the different types of selectors over here. In the next few minutes, my aim is not to explain you these selectors. I'll just mention them. So listen to me carefully and try to remember what I'm telling you. By the way, I have given some comments over here for your, so that you can remember this. Now what happens is, if you put a star over here, star stands for all and it means universal selector. As I told you, I'll explain the meaning later on. Then if we write the elements like this, H1, H2, okay, they are called type selectors. After that we have something called class selector. So the syntax of the class selector is that you put a dot. This dot is very important, okay, and after a dot you will write some name like C programming. So this is called class selector. Once again, while I'm telling you all these things, don't wonder what exactly it is. Another form of class selector is that you write the name of an element like H2 and after that you write dot C programming. So this is also class selector. Then if you put a hash and after the hash if you write something like this, then this is called ID selector. This DS over here is just a name, you could have written anything else. Then we have the child selector. The syntax of the child selector is that you write some element like Li, then you write one more element like A, and between them you put the greater than symbol. So this greater than symbol is the child selector. After that we have the descendant selector, which is given by this space. So you write Li. What is Li? I'll explain you. Li is basically list item and HTML element. Anyway, so you write Li, you write A, in between you put a space. So this space stands for descendant selector. Then you have adjacent sibling selector, which is denoted by plus. And finally you have general sibling selector, which is denoted by this tilde, T-I-L-D-E, tilde. Now what exactly this all means, so to understand that I have the corresponding HTML file, okay. Now this is the HTML file and I'll also keep the CSS file open. This is the HTML file. Alright, now once again, as I always tell you, pause the video and go through everything in the body of this HTML file. Come on, do that. Now if you went through this HTML file, the first thing is this link tag over here. So this link element clearly tells you that this HTML file is linked to selectors.css, means this one. So whatever styling we are mentioning over here, that styling will be applicable to the HTML elements over here. Now over there is one heading called H1, which will display important programming subjects. Now what is this? I will explain you very soon. Right now I'll just skip over this. Let's go to this H2. Now what do you think this H2 will display? So this H2 will display SPA. But now here you see something very important. Now this H2 over here has one attribute. I hope you remember what are attributes, and the attribute over here is the class attribute. So what I am doing is I am writing class equal to C programming. By the way, over here instead of C programming I could have written anything else like Jack, Jill, Tim, anything. Now when I write when I write class is equal to C programming, it means, listen to me carefully, it means that the class of this H2 is C programming. Now where this class is used, so I had told you once, you must have forgotten, that this ID and class are useful when we apply CSS styling. So very soon we'll see how they are useful. Then these two are simple paragraphs, okay. You have one paragraph, SPA is a subject, another it is the foundation. Then you have one more H2 element which will display DS and AOA. By the way, things which you see in white color, remember this, things which you see in white color are the ones which will be displayed. So DS and AOA will be displayed. Now this H2 is given one ID attribute and the ID over here is DS. Once again, instead of DS, you could have written your own name. Then there is a paragraph. The paragraph will display this. DS and AOA are subjects of SEM3 and SEM4. And once again, it has class attribute which is C programming. Now, if you are attentive, did you notice something unusual over here? You will realize that the elements in line number 23 and 28 have the same class attribute. Well, this is not wrong. Multiple elements can share the same class. This is correct. However, the ID attribute is unique. That means two different HTML elements cannot have the same ID. That will lead to an error. So you can have multiple elements with the same class, but not multiple elements with the same ID. I'm sorry. Okay. So once that is done, there is this simple anchor tag which will display official website. Now, before I move further, let me just explain you this thing, this OL. So now what I will do is, I will just copy this, I'll copy this, and to explain it properly to you, I'll paste it in some other file. So this is a temporary file test.html, here I'll copy this. Okay. Now OL over here stands for ordered list. I repeat, it stands for ordered list. And now let me run this program and see how it will look like. So it looks like this, ordered list. Now over here, ignore the styling and all, this SPA, DS and all, ignore the styling, just pay attention to the content over here. So what happens over here is, you have this OL. Now OL is ordered list. Now what you see over here is an ordered list. So ordered list is basically a list in which there will be multiple list items, and every list item will be having some number like 1, 2, 3 and so on. Now how to create an ordered list? So I'll create one right away. If you want to create an ordered list, you will give OL and you will hit the enter key. Now after OL, now this is the OL which is the ordered list. Now the concept is this, every ordered list will have multiple list items. So I'll write LI which stands for list item and I'll hit the enter key. Now inside this list item I can write anything. I can write Jack, then one more list item. I can write Jill, then one more list item, and LI I can write Tim. Okay, so I hope you understood what is an ordered list. So an ordered list will basically produce a list like this. Inside the ordered list, there will be several list items. So what you see over here are list items. Okay, now once you understand this ordered list, now have a look at this particular ordered list. Again, if you want, you can pause the video and you can go through all this. Do that, come on. Alright, now let's understand how did you get this particular ordered list. Now what all contents it has? So over here, if you see carefully, inside OL you have three list items. This being the first one, this being the second one, and this being the third one. Now in this list item there is an anchor tag. So see carefully, there is an anchor tag over here. And because it is an anchor tag, that is why this SPA is in blue color and underlined. So see carefully, this SPA is not directly a part of list item like Jack. If you compare this one, this line number 11 and line number 2, you will realize in line number 11, Jack is directly a part of LI. But in line number 2, SPA is not a part of LI, it is a part of the anchor tag, okay? And that is why, because it is an anchor tag, it is in blue color and underlined. Now when you click on this SPA, it will take you to studycircle.org. Okay, let's not click on this and waste time. Then have a look at this particular LI, very simple. It will display AOA. So this AOA is not an anchor tag, so it is in plain black color. Now have a look at this LI. So what you should realize over here is that inside this LI there is a P element, and inside the P element there is this anchor. Alright. So I hope you understood the structure over here. Now let me just erase this, and once again let's talk a little about the structure over here. Now over here I can say, be attentive to what I am talking, I can say that this A element is the child of Li element. I hope that is clear. This A element is the child of Li element. Why? Because the A element is inside the Li element. If you understood what I told you, tell me, is this A element the child of this Li element? Tell me. The answer is no. Why? Because over here the child of this Li is this P element. So then what this A element is with respect to this Li? So I can say that this A element is the descendant of this Li. I repeat, this A element is the descendant of this Li. Let me ask you a question. This P element, is this a descendant or a child of Li? Tell me. The answer is both. See, the concept is something like this. Every child is a descendant, but every descendant is not a child. I repeat myself, every child is a descendant, but every descendant is not a child. So this A element is the descendant of Li, not child. This P element is the child of Li, and thereby it is also the descendant of Li. Let me see how attentive you are. Can you tell me this P element is the descendant or child of this OL? So the answer is, it is descendant but not the child. I hope you understood this. Now let's go to our program, which was selectors HTML. Now you understood what is this descendant child. Now also let's talk a little about sibling. Now siblings in general, what is the meaning of the word siblings? So siblings are basically brothers and sisters. Sisters, brothers, they are called siblings. Now over here, look at this H2 and look at this P. Can you tell me who is the child of whom amongst this H2 and P? The answer is none. P is not the child of H2 and H2 is not the child of P. Why? Because P is not inside H2 and similarly H2 is not inside P. So over here I can say that P and H2 are adjacent siblings. I repeat, P and H2 are adjacent siblings. Now can you tell me what is the relationship between this H2 and this P? First of all, is this P a child or descendant of this H2? The answer is no. Again, there is no child and descendant relationship between this H2 and this P. So I can say that this P is a sibling of H2 but not adjacent sibling. I will say this P is a general sibling of H2. Did you understand all this? So over here till here what we did is we studied the concept of child, we studied the concept of descendant, we studied the concept of adjacent sibling, we studied the concept of general sibling, and we also saw what is a class, what is ID. Now I have not yet taught you the selectors over here. My advice to you would be that if you did not understand this child, descendant and all these things, then watch this part of the video once again and then only you come over here. Otherwise you will not understand all this properly. Alright. Okay, so now I assume that you understood all this, and now what I will do is I will execute this program. I'll execute this program. So preview HTML. This is the output which we are going to discuss in great detail. But now in my discussion, what I need to do is I need to show you this program and this program simultaneously. So for that, what I will do is I will just hide this, and now this is what even you can do. I will go to this, yes, sorry, I'll right click on this and I'll say split left. Okay, so now what I have done is I have split the screen into two parts. So over here I have selectors HTML and over here I have selectors CSS. So now I have the CSS file and the HTML file both in front of us, and we also have the output in front of us, so that way we can understand things in great detail. Okay. So now let's start. This is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting but slightly difficult also. So pay good attention over here. Now first of all, this star over here stands for all. It means that whatever rule we write over here, whatever declaration we write over here, this declaration is applicable to everybody in the HTML document. And this star is called universal selector. Universal selector means it is applicable to everybody. So I'm writing over here font family Verdana. So this means that a font of this entire document will be Verdana. Now let me just remove this and see what happens. See, I'll remove this. Now while I remove this, you keep an eye on the output also. Let me just increase the size of the output just a minute. So I'll just increase it a little. All right. Okay. So now I'll remove this font family one. I'll remove this font family Verdana. I cut this, and after that I save this. Now see carefully, the minute I saved it, see here carefully. If you see carefully, you will realize the font has changed. This is now not Verdana, this is the Times New Roman font. Now I put it back, and after putting it back, I need to save it. Whenever you do any changes on the HTML or CSS file, always save it. So this blue dot over here shows that it is not saved. So if you want to save it, either you go over here and save, or what I normally do is I press the Command S. So Command S, and see the changes again. Okay, so you understood the font family concepts. I'm sorry, you understood this universal selector concept. Now have a look at this H1, H2. I'm sure you know what it is. Now whenever you write a name of any element this way, then this H1, H2 are now called type selector. So now this is very simple. What we have done is we have mentioned over here that for H1 and H2, the margin left should be 50 pixel. So come on, you have the HTML file also in front of you. Decide where is H1 and H2. So see, this is H1, this is H2, and this is also H2. If you see carefully, you will realize they are all aligned. See this D, this S, P, I, they are all aligned. See carefully. Now if you want to see, if you really want to be convinced that this is correct, I'll do one thing. I'll remove H2 from here, okay? And then you will be convinced. So see what I'm doing. I'll remove H2. Now I'm about to save this. Now when I will save this, see what will happen. Did you realize what happened? See this SPA and DS, they are no more having margin of 50 pixels, whereas H1 still has margin of 50 pixels. Now let me put the margin back over here. So I'll put comma H2, and that brings the margin again. Alright. Okay. Now after that we have something called class selector. Now if you want to have a class selector, then you should put dot, and then after the dot you should write the name of the class. So over here I wrote .c programming. Come on, I think it is very simple. Look at the output, look at the code in front of you and tell me what this .c programming will do. So what it will do is, it will give color of red to that particular HTML element whose class is C programming. So look over here, line number 23 and line number 28, they have class equal to C programming, and that's why see they are in red color. So over here, line number 23, SPA, this one, see SPA. Then line number 20, where is it? Yeah, line number 28, see this C programming. So over here also I have red color. Do you understand this? And what about this red color that I'll tell you very soon, this one, okay. So let me tell you one thing, that the red color of this SPA, this one, is not because of this class selector. It is because of something else which I'll tell you very soon. This part of the code from line number 11 to 13, it results into this red color and this red color. Alright. Now over here again in line number 16, 17, 18, again I have a class selector, but things are slightly different over here. I have written h2.c programming, and over here I wrote background color is light blue. Now I hope you remember that this thing are called property value pairs. Okay, so within the declaration these things are called property value pairs. Now in CSS there are many properties like margin left, color, background color, and very often the properties are self-explanatory. So I'm sure you will understand that when I write background color light blue, what it will do is it will give the element a background color of light blue. Now coming to the selector part, come on, now take this as an exercise. You have the CSS code in front of you, you have the HTML code in front of you, you have the output in front of you. So you figure out what this h2.c programming will do. Come on, do that. Okay, I'm pretty sure many of you must have already figured out. See, what happens over here is that if I write only .c programming, then this will be applicable to all those elements whose class is C programming. Whereas if I write this way, h2.c programming, then this CSS property will be applicable only to that HTML element whose or I will say this way, now this CSS property is applicable only to that HTML element which is h2 and its class is C programming. So if you are coming from a language like C and Java, you can say that this thing is something like logical AND. I hope you remember what logical AND does. So this is similar to logical AND. The element should be h2 and the class should be C programming. So that's why if you see carefully, you will realize that over here, this particular CSS code is applicable to line number 23 over here. See. So this SPA came in, the background color of this SPA is now light blue. But see carefully that here also the class is C programming, but this line DS and AOA are subjects. This is not in light blue color. The background color is not light blue. Alright. Now let's go to the next CSS selector, and that is called ID selector. Very simple. Again, look at the CSS code, look at the HTML code, look at the output, and it is quite simple. Come on, do that. So very simple. See, this DS and AOA, they have ID of DS. So now over here I wrote hash DS color blue. So as a result, this DS and AOA is seen in blue color. By the way, whenever you want to have an ID selector, you should put the hash symbol. So the hash stands for ID and dot stands for class. Now the next 3-4 selectors are pretty or slightly difficult. Pay good attention over here. Although they are difficult, they are quite interesting. Now over here, this thing li greater than symbol A is the child selector. First of all, do one thing, pause the video and figure out that this thing is affecting whom in the HTML code. Come on, do that. So many of you must have figured out that this thing is affecting this SPA. The red color of this SPA is because of this CSS code. So now the question over here is, what exactly happens over here? So listen to me carefully. When you write li greater than a, so it means this way. It means that this CSS rule, this CSS declaration is applicable to that element which is anchor, and that anchor should be the child of li. So when you write li greater a, it means that the anchor should be the child of li. Now if you look at this HTML code, there is only one li there is only one anchor which is the child of li, and that is this one. That is this one. I hope you remember that this anchor is not the child of li. Alright, so that is why this SPA is in red color, but this DS is not in red color. The blue color of DS over here is the default color of the anchor tag. It is not because of CSS. Alright, okay. Now what next? Now after that you have descendant selector. Now what is the meaning of descendant selector? Again interesting, be attentive. Now I wrote li space a. Now when I write li space a, what it means? It means that this CSS declaration is applicable to those a elements which are descendants of li elements. I repeat, this declaration, this one, is applicable to that a element which is descendant of li element. So now who all are the descendants over here? So one descendant is this. I hope you remember that this is the descendant of this particular li. So that is why the font style over here is italic. So see, that's why this DS, look at this, DS is in italic. As I told you, there are many infinite CSS properties. So this color, this font style, then this background color, they are all called CSS properties. And you don't need to learn them, you don't need to remember them. As and when we go ahead in the syllabus, you will come across new CSS properties, and they are self-explanatory. So when I write font style italic, so this will be italic. Now coming back to the concept of selector over here, if you see carefully, you will realize that this CSS declaration is applicable even to this SPA. See carefully, this SPA is also in italics. Now why it got applied to this SPA? Because if you remember, I had told you that every child is a descendant, but every descendant is not a child. So when I write li space a, it is applicable even to this a, because this a is a child of this li. In other words, it is a descendant of li. I think you understood. I'm sure you understood this. Okay, now let's come to something called adjacent sibling selector. Again, interesting. Now when you write h2 plus p, what I did is inside h2 plus p, I gave the rule background color yellow. So see carefully, over here there are two elements whose background color is yellow, this one and this one. So come on, you do one thing. Instead of me telling you, you try and figure out that h2 plus p is selecting whom. So I'm sure you must have figured out that h2 plus p has selected this, h2 plus p has selected this, but h2 plus p has not selected this. I think many of you must have understood the reason why that way. See, quite simple. This p element comes immediately after this h2. So I will say that this p element is the adjacent sibling of this h2. Similarly, this p element comes after this h2. So I will say this is also adjacent sibling of h2. Now if you talk about this p element also comes after h2, but remember one thing, it is not immediately after this h2. So in very simple words, I will say, although this is a sibling of h2, it is not adjacent sibling of h2. So the plus symbol over here will select only adjacent siblings, and that is why these two paragraphs are in yellow, but this paragraph, okay, this one, its background is not yellow. Finally, we have something called general sibling selector. If you have been attentive all this while, then I think this is very simple. So what the general sibling selector will do, it will select all the siblings whether they are adjacent or not adjacent. So when I write H2 tilde P, so it will select all those P elements which are siblings of H2. So over here this got selected, this got selected, this got selected, and for each of them the font style is mentioned to be italics. So that's why this, see this and this is in italics. Okay, so I'm sure you understood all this. So these are some of the most frequently used selectors in CSS. There are few more selectors which we will see later on.